Okay, welcome to lesson 3. So in lesson 2 we built our enemy tank, the red tank, who tries to chase after us, and we have our green tank, which is my tank. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to add some sensing so that the tanks know when there's a collision. Alright, so what we'll do is we will let's just make this red tank find out when it's touching my tank. Okay, and what we're going to do is for my tank as well, we're going to see when let it know when it's touching the red tank. So what we'll do is we'll say events, and we want to say if, drop this in here, if touching my tank, then, and we're actually going to change a costume. Okay, so we're going to make the explosion. So we're going to put this inside our little forever loop. So we're going to say if touching my tank, then we're going to go to looks. We're going to say, right now we can do lots of things, right? So we can add a sound. We can make a sound go boom. So you might need to add your own sound. So let's just do that straight away. So we'll say we'll go to the recordings. So let's click on the sounds up here, and to record your own sound, you just click on the little microphone, and you click the red button to start your recording, and the circle, sorry, to start your recording, and the square to stop your recording. So if I wanted my tank sound to make a big crash, I would do a okay. So that's I'm sure you can make better explosion sounds than that, and I'm going to call it boom. Alright. Okay. And now when I go back to my script, I can say play the sound boom. Click on our start. What's going to happen when this touches there? Hopefully it'll go boom. Okay, so the reason that my sound is sounding a bit squonky, alright, is because of this wait half a second. This little loop says wait half a second, move 20 steps. If it's touching the sound, then play boom, and my sound is longer than half a second. So what happens is every time it hits that half second, it doesn't give it enough time to play the whole sound. Right, so I have to make my boom a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go back to the sounds, and I'm going to look at my boom here, and we can actually edit it, right? So I can do this. I can just go move that bit and go delete, and let's see. Maybe I can just delete that bit too. Don't like the sound of that. I think I'll start again. Okay. I'll delete that bit. So that's probably just longer than half a second. So what we can do, remember I said there was 2 ways of speeding this loop up. So we can make that 1 second. Now we could make that maybe 30 steps. Right. So it's going to move 30 steps, and let's see what happens when it crashes. Alright. Now the other thing we want to do is we want to change costumes. Right. So I'm going to add a new costume here. I'm going to click on a little paintbrush, and I'm going to make a nice explosion costume. So I'm going to take my my little brush, and I'm going to go and maybe I'll paint that in with let's paint that with yellow, and then I'm going to black line again, and I'm going to do this. Oh. this costume crash. And this is red tank. Okay, so I've given each of these costumes a name. I'll go back to my scripts, and I'm going to say looks, and I'm going to say switch costume to crash. Okay. So we'll let it crash and see what happens. Okay, so we now have a nice looking explosion when we crash, and exploding noise. So maybe we need to change this loop a little bit though. Okay, because what's going to happen now when I click my green flag? I have an explosion coming towards us, right? So let's stop it. So what I have to do at the very top is I have to tell it to switch costume to red tank. So now when I do there, it'll start off with the red tank costume. Okay. So now we have an explosion there. It would be good if our green tank also knew when it was crashing into the red tank. So we'll do some control here. We'll say if touching, get our sensing, we'll say if touching red tank, and let's do an exploding costume for this one too. So, oops, on my paint can instead of on my paintbrush. You can make much better looking explosions than this, but this is really just to get you started, right? So there's my second boom. Okay, so go back to my script and say when that's clicked, you'll say if touching red tank, then go to books, switch costume to costume 2. Right, let's go and name those costumes. So I'll just call this explode. Let's call this one green tank. Okay. If touching red tank, then switch to costume 2. Okay, and you can add some noise in here as well. So I'm not going to do the adding the noise in here. And again, when the green flag is clicked, what we want to do is we also want to make sure that we start off in the right costume. So we're going to say switch costume to green tank, and we want this inside a loop. All right, so we want to have it checking this forever. So we'll keep checking to see if we're touching the red tank. So now we do this. We'll see, we can move out the way. We won't have a crash. And if we go, something went wrong there. Can you guess what it was? So we had our costume 2, and our costume 2 doesn't exist anymore because we renamed it, so we have to change it to that. Okay, so let's press our green button again. Now we should be able to. Should both explode when they crash into each other. There you go. 2 big explosions. Okay, so I'll see you in lesson 4, and we'll just add some more functionality here.